Hello everyone, this is Steven from the Even Steven channel, and today we do kind of another video on the CZ P-09, or let's redo that video. Because the first video I did on the CZ P-09 was kind of a first impressions video, and I had a little more time with the gun, and I wanted to kind of just do that video over again, if I'm allowed, and since it's my channel, I am. So what we have is the CZ P-09 9mm, in kind of the standard CZ box. So what do we got in the box? There actually is a few things going on here. So first of all, we got replacement back straps, 2 magazines, we have a cleaning brush and a pull-through rod. I don't know why anyone really includes this other than it's so cheap to do. If you have this brush, do you really need anything else? Just how often do you really need to use solvent on your gun? We got a couple things going over here, tucked in the box. This is something worth mentioning. We'll get back to this a little bit later, but this is the manual safety that you can install on the P-09. We'll leave that on the side for now. This is, I guess, a snap cap, really, and a little wrench. Now I put a bandage on because I busted up my thumb on something else, and I didn't want to be distracting, so be distracted by the band-aid. And then a manual printed in several different languages. So this is not a particularly thorough manual because it's in like 3 to 4 different languages, I forgot. In several different languages. So it's not all that long or thorough. So we have the CZ P-09. Let's get this out of the box, get a safety check that. We're going to pull out one of the 2 magazines it comes with. It's also unloaded. And we're going to talk about the gun. So this is the CZ P-09. Technically speaking, this is a semi-automatic handgun, chambered for 9mm parabellum. It works double or single action, hammer fired. Here's a single action. This is double action, and it has a decocker or the manual safety. Usually I go bottom to top. I start with the magazines. These are unfortunately 10-round magazines. They are high quality and a little expensive, maybe like $40 each for these magazines, which is why I never really got another one. It also has the cuts for like all the other models of CZs, like the P10 and the P10C, P10F, P10C. They all kind of use similar magazines, and that's why you have all these different cuts in all these different places to fit all the different magazines. They are good magazines though. This is 10 rounds. I believe standard capacity is like 18 or 19, so it's pretty excellent. And you have that long grip to accommodate those 18-19 rounds. One of the things I noticed with the CZ P-09 is that the back strap makes a big difference. Number one, the back strap is very difficult to get out, because it was kind of a redesign holdover from the P-07, the original P-07 Duty. If you see the original P-07 Duty commercial, it's like P-07 Duty for Duty. And the commercial is hilarious. Didn't have the back strap. In the redesign they included the back strap system, but they kind of kludged it on. You have to punch out this pin while taking out the cap from the mainspring housing and hope it doesn't come flying in your face and poke your eye out. And when you put it back together, it's a little bit of a chore. So be aware, this is not an easy thing to do, changing the back strap. But the back strap does a lot, because if you look at this gun, this grip is very thin. So whatever amount you take or put onto the back strap really affects how it feels in your hand. I had the small one on, and that was way too small. I had the large one on, that was way too big. This is the medium one, and this seems to fit me the best. And maybe CZ should have just kind of done that from the beginning, because that's probably going to fit like 90% of people the best. And even with the medium on, it still feels like a big gun in the hand. You got a lot of grip here. Let's just, for an instant, pull out my Glock 19. And the Glock 19 is a relatively small gun. If you line it up by the trigger guard, you will see that the P-09 is like an inch longer in the grip and like a half an inch longer in the slide. It's a significantly bigger gun, and the width is this does have the appearance of being wider. It looks like it's bigger and heavier in every single dimension. So the P-09 is a big gun. The texturing on the grip is pretty good. Pretty good texturing the front and the back and the sides. It's all pretty good. That's pretty good. Overall, the feel of my hand is excellent. I think the ergonomics are pretty good. Although, like I said, the grip is a little long. Magazine release is good. It's reversible. From what I can tell, looks like it's reversible. It doesn't stick out too far. Easy enough to reach. Good. Got this kind of skeletonized hammer. This is the decocker that safely decocks the gun. Rear sight. This is the olive drab night sight version, which is a pretty decent sight picture. Not the best, not the worst. Pretty decent night sights there. Slide release on the left side only. The decocker is also on the right side, but the slide release is not on the right side. So let's go look at the right side of the gun itself. Got a very thin trigger guard here. It gives you a lot of space for your hand. The trigger pull itself is actually not that great, in my opinion. So first of all, we have the single action trigger, which has a lot of creep to it. Look at this. And doing it just then doesn't seem too bad, but let's see. Not the best. And double action is actually pretty heavy. It's really not that great. Overly heavy. You got those little indentations for either your index finger or your thumb. Either way. Picatinny rail. Slide serrations of both the rear and the front. I like the beveling, kind of the contouring of the slide right there. Front sight. And the barrel, which is 4.5, 5 inches. Let me just take the box, see what it says. I apologize. I believe it's either 4.5 or 5 inches. You can look that up. That's pretty standard specifications that CZ themselves will give you. I want to talk a little bit about this decocker, because my understanding is if you have a decocker on a gun, that actually makes the trigger pull worse. There's a couple of things that will make the trigger pull on your gun worse, or can. Doesn't necessarily have to. There's a couple of things that can make your trigger pull worse. Number one is a decocker. Number two is a magazine safety. Now the CZ P-09 does not have a magazine safety. That's good. So we'll fire just fine without that. But it does have the decocker. And I wonder if that hinders the trigger pull on the gun. Now, like I mentioned before, there is this little kit, these parts, you can use to install a manual safety in the gun. So it comes with it. That's actually pretty nice, pretty good value. Comes with all these things for the money. Then this, I'll tell you right now, this costs approximately $600. So considering you get the olive drab finish, get the night sights, get the manual safety, not too bad for $600 a CZ handgun. And I wonder if I were to do the little swap, you basically have to take out this decocker. There's like a spring that comes out. There are videos dedicated to showing you how to do this. If I installed the manual safety, would that make the trigger pull better? I don't know. So, with all that out of the way, all the features, how does it shoot? Pretty well. Pretty well. I will say that the CZ P-09 has been 100% reliable in probably like 500 rounds. And I have several guns that I've showed recently that haven't been able to do that. So congratulations to CZ that for everything I could say possibly negative about this gun, it is a very reliable gun. And it's a fairly large gun with a decent amount of weight. It's probably over 30 ounces, although I haven't looked at that specifications. And it recoils pretty nicely. I mean, it's not nothing, but I think as far as 9mm go, 9 millimeter handguns go, it's pretty soft shooting. Now, how's the accuracy? And I took out shooting on Friday, and this is the groups I got. That's 5 yards, top left. 7 yards, 10 yards, which actually might have been better than 7 yards. 15, which technically is all in the paper. And then 25, which for some reason, I don't know, it was all print and low. I don't know what that was about. And honestly, I wasn't feeling too great about those groups. And maybe I thought to myself, maybe the ammo I used. I was using a brand of ammo, I forgot what it was. It might have been Winchester White Box or whatever. And I was like, you know what, let me get the ammo I normally use. And I'm not someone who usually considers ammo all that much. But this is PMC Bronze 124 grain. This seems pretty good stuff that works well in all of my guns. So I went back to the range today after going there on Friday, and I got this very briefly. This is actually my Glock 19. This is the P-09 at 7 yards. I think that's better. This is 10 yards. I think just 5 shots, 10 yards. And this was 15 yards. So while not the best groups ever, I think maybe either I was having a bad day or the ammo wasn't all that great. And the second time around, shooting it this morning, it seemed like the P-09 did a little better. So it seems like a fairly accurate gun. We'll say the accuracy is good. Reliability is 100%. And it pretty much does everything I want. But I gotta be honest, there's something about the P-09 that while technically it does everything I asked for, just kind of doesn't excite me that much. I don't know. Like owning a Honda Civic. You know, is anyone really excited about owning a Honda Civic? I'm sure some people are. But it does everything I want, but just somehow doesn't excite me. So technically, objectively, all measures, great gun. But it doesn't have the sexiness of some other guns, despite looking really nice. This is a very futuristic looking gun. If I wanted to do a movie where I wanted to show, like, you know, the year 2040, I would use one of these guns because it looks like a futuristic gun. It looks like something from RoboCop. Yet, somehow, just kind of mad to it. Even though, again, great gun. Now, what can I envision this gun being used for? I think, first and foremost, it is kind of like a duty gun. A relatively large duty gun, but a duty gun, a home defense gun, maybe like a like a production class competition gun. I wouldn't consider it a concealed carry gun or a hunting gun, but I think that's its intended purpose. It is mostly a range gun, a entry-level competition gun, a home defense gun, a duty gun, and I think in that role, it would do quite well. Again, I am kind of interested to maybe switch out that decocker, see what happens, see how that works. Now, if you have a CZ P-09 and you have switched out the decocker for manual safety, I would like to know, do you think that actually improves the trigger pull of the gun? Because I think my biggest complaint with the gun, even though the accuracy is good, that the trigger pull in either double action nor single action is all that great. And I think that will do it for today's review. By all metrics, excellent gun. Personally, not too excited about it, but what are you going to do? Some guns just don't do it for you as much. Not that I hate the gun. I want to be very clear. I've had other videos where I said, yeah, this gun's okay. People just flip out. The gun's fine. Nothing wrong with it. And this has been Steven from the Even Steven channel with my review of the CZ P-09. Please do all that like, sharing, subscribing, commenting. Please comment. I like a little more conversation going on in the videos. I want to hear what you think. Am I doing good? Doing bad? I don't know. And like I said, this is Steven from the Even Steven channel. Thank you and goodbye.